What's going on, guys? It's Michael MGF, and today I'll be doing my first custom LEGO minifigure showcase video for Star Wars The Force Awakens, and that is something I did not see myself saying until at least December when I do showcase all 11 minifigures that I have planned for the release of the film. But when the second trailer rolled around during Celebration Anaheim, I knew I absolutely had to recreate that final shot of Han and Chewie, so I put together in about under an hour a makeshift Han Solo that you can see here, and this is not what the actual figure will look like in the real showcase video later this year. This is sort of like, I mean, almost you can kind of call this like a prototype showcase, because I also have the First Order Stormtrooper that I made for Star Wars Day. But I mean, both of these minifigures will be actual minifigures when the sets do release September 4th, so I mean, maybe my figures will look much different then, and I'm sure they will. But like I just said, this is almost like a prototype, like preliminary showcase video almost of two minifigures that were made just for those two very circumstances. And I made the Stormtrooper because I had nothing else to do for Star Wars Day, so as soon as I finished my Avengers Age of Ultron customs, I was like, okay, maybe I can throw together a pair of arms, a torso, maybe a belt, the helmet, and the blaster, and I can work on the legs later and just make a quick, you know, Force Awakens style Star Wars Day photo. And that's what I did, and that's how these two minifigures came to be, and that's how we ended up here with this showcase video. So without further ado, let's get started. So making the Force Awakens Stormtrooper was definitely a little bit more tedious than a normal minifigure, because I was painting an entirely black design onto an entirely white surface, and that doesn't exactly leave a lot of room for error, because when you're painting black and you try to remove it, it can leave like a dark spot, and you have to, it's basically, it can be a real struggle to make sure that everything looks clean and not messy, and so like I said, it doesn't really leave a lot of room for mistakes. So that definitely made it a very tedious and I guess like a process where I had to be very careful, more so than usual. So you can see that it did turn out really nice and very accurate. Thankfully, I had made this minifigure after Celebration Anaheim, so I mean, I pretty much had a lot to go off of, because there has been so much cosplay of the First Order Stormtroopers since then, and so it wasn't terribly hard to find reference pictures for the Force Awakens Stormtroopers. I mean, maybe I would say just the back was a little bit difficult, but I have to say right now, you don't see a lot painted onto the back, because there really isn't a lot on the backs of these new Stormtroopers to begin with, and they're actually, apparently according to Lucasfilm, they're actually like based on Apple's like theme, I guess is what I was trying to say there. So they're meant to look very clean, very slick, and just, you know, very smooth, simple, and that's, I guess, what I also try to portray here with my minifigure, and you know, while trying to paint on all the necessary and accurate details. And you can see I have everything down to the knee pads painted onto the legs there, and that wraps around the legs, and you know, all the different curvatures are all painted on there within those, you know, black exposed areas, I guess, you know, beneath the armor. And you can see I've got like all the detail that I said painted on the back, you know, the grenade canister, it's all there. And then the arms are pretty much identical, and I tried to paint on as much as I thought, you know, would be necessary for a LEGO minifigure. It's all wraparound, of course. And then you'll see that the helmet, this is actually a aerial-like combat helmet. And so what I did was, it had like these, I don't know what they were, but they had like these things on the tops, like on like the sides of the helmet that I sanded off. And then it also had like some breathers here and here in the mouth area that I also had to sand off to make sure that this would look, you know, more like the Force Awakens Stormtroopers. So I mean, I pretty much did that very same thing that I just mentioned there. I added a little bit of sealant to make sure it, you know, looked really nice and, you know, shiny, even after I had sanded a lot of it, and it still, you know, turned out to look really, really awesome. And I think it was, you know, definitely the preferable, you know, pick for the helmet design, you know, that I would paint onto. And then I have all of the ventilation painted on both sides, all 7 lines on both sides of the helmet. That was definitely pretty tedious to paint. They're not perfect, and they're not, you know, totally 100% symmetrical, but they're definitely close enough, and I think it looks, you know, just fine. And you can see that the entire front of the helmet, the eyes, everything about it, all fully painted. This entire minifigure is fully painted, and I think it turned out really great. You know, the helmet definitely is the best part. And then his blaster is, you guys obviously recognize this design. This is a standard LEGO blaster, and what I did was I cut the back off and then painted the whole thing. And honestly, this was the last thing I was expecting to use on this minifigure, but when I looked at the First Order Stormtroopers, I was like, okay, you know, their blasters actually look like LEGO blasters, just with all the white, you know, the red lights in the middle, etc. So I pretty much did exactly what I just said. I cut the back off and painted everything that I thought would be necessary onto a LEGO version of those new blasters. I don't know the names of their new blasters. I'm not sure if they're still the 11s or not, but if they are, be sure to let me know down in the comments, or if you know otherwise. So yeah, but aside from that though, that's pretty much it for this Stormtrooper. The legs are posable, of course. even with the paint that I have on them. And then you have the helmet. If I pull it off, you'll see that it is just a black head. And reason being is, guys, I will of course be making Finn at the end of the year for my actual Force Awakens showcase video. It's just, I don't think now would really be a necessary time to make Finn. You know, I really would rather see what the LEGO group has planned for their head design before I would, you know, paint my own. And like I said, I'll be making him again, so I don't want to, you know, pretty much paint the same head again later in the year. So like I said, I will be making Finn, just not now. And so that's why you just have the standard Stormtrooper, and he just got a standard black head. But I think this minifigure turned out awesome, and especially for painting all black onto an all white surface, it turned out pretty smooth. Han Solo, on the other hand, was honestly just shoehorned into this showcase video because I didn't want my First Order Stormtrooper to be alone if I've had this guy already made. And this, like I said at the start of the video, was just a total makeshift Han Solo that I made just for that recreation photo that I did of the final scene in the Force Awakens second trailer. And so it is very basic with very minimal detail and barely anything on it. All I did was paint just the white on the torso, the exposed skin on his chest. I painted the smile there, all the wrinkles. I repainted the eyebrows in a gray color, and I also repainted this hairpiece in light gray. So I mean, aside from that though, that's all I did. I mean, the pockets that you see on the torso, the rest of the design on the back, that's all the LEGO group. And so it is pretty basic, completely unfinished, and not even, was never meant to be a finished minifigure. Hell, it was never meant to be in a video. But I figured if I have this figure here, why not throw him in to give you guys a better look at what this figure was in that photo that you saw back in April. He is equipped with a Brick Arms DL44. I'm not sure if Han Solo will still be using his DL44 all those years later, 30 years down and, you know, into down the road in the future. So I figured I'd still equip the minifigure with it anyway. This is actually a prototype version of the pistol. I've had this for a few years. I actually got this long before Will over at Brick Arms actually put this design into production. So I mean, aside from that though, that is pretty much it for my makeshift Han Solo that I made for that recreation photo I did back in April, and both minifigures in this showcase video. So without further ado, let's go ahead and wrap this up.
Chewie, we're home.
Alright guys, and there you go, the first showcase video for Star Wars The Force Awakens, and oh my god, I cannot believe I've already made 2 figures for Star Wars Episode freaking 7. It's completely insane this film is actually happening at the end of the year. But of course, what's also happening, as I mentioned at the start of the video, I'll be showcasing all 11 of my actual minifigures December 17th, and that's when you can look forward to the video just before the film's release. And so yeah, but I've got a lot of things that are going to be happening way before then, such as my Iron Man Mark 7 and War Machine customs, my Ahsoka. I'll be showcasing all 3 of those this month, hopefully. I've still got the Atom in the works. I've still got 4 Ant-Man customs that I'm going to be showcasing July 16th. I've got 4 Fantastic Four customs that I might be showcasing August 7th. Still haven't fully decided if I'm actually going to be going through with that showcase, but I mean, I've got a lot of stuff happening way before then, even a showcase video for Halo 5 Guardians and so many other things that I'll be doing before then. It's still a little bit of a ways off, but I will be starting on all the minifigures in September once I review all 7 of the sets when they're released September 4th actually. So it's going to be pretty busy leading up to that day, and then especially once I actually finish reviewing the sets and do get started on the minifigures. So yeah, just wanted to fill you guys in on that, but you'll be able to see all of it on my Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram first. Links to all 3 of those are always down in the description because it's way easier to post photos of these figures than it is to actually finish them and showcase them, record the video, you know, edit everything. So I always try to suggest that to you, man. But you can also freaking drop the video a like below if you enjoyed the showcase video, or maybe found yourself inspired to make your own minifigures for The Force Awakens early. But aside from that though, I think that is pretty much it for this video, guys, and I will catch you later. Alright. Bye! When actually it was before that when shit. There you go, the first showcase. Oh, okay.
There has been an awakening.
First custom, like shit. A lot coming before then. So and he was just I was like, okay, I need to crap. Low, enter your opinion down on these freaking. I had it! Damn it! out actually at the end of shit.